The BRICS organization continues to grow steadily, with new announcements of expansions nearly every few months. Founded in 2009 by Brazil, Russia, India, and China, the group was initially designed to unite the economies of the Global South, countries once colonized, so they could work together to enhance their economic development and challenge the Western-dominated financial system. In 2010, South Africa joined the group, which then became known as BRICS, and since then, new members have continuously been added. Most recently, in January 2025, Indonesia became the latest country to join as a full member, marking a significant shift in the group's global influence. Indonesia's membership in BRICS is especially noteworthy due to its size and economic power. It is the fourth most populous country in the world and boasts the seventh largest economy. Its inclusion further strengthens the bloc, which now has 10 full members: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. Additionally, BRICS includes 8 countries as partners, signaling a pathway to full membership in the near future. These partner countries are Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Thailand, Uganda, and Uzbekistan. There are also 5 nations, Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Vietnam, Nigeria, and Turkey, that have been invited to join, but have yet to confirm their membership. As of January 2025, the combined economies of the 10 full members of BRICS represent 38.8% of the global economy, based on GDP measured at purchasing power parity. When you include the 8 partner countries, the total share of the global economy rises to 41.4%. This is a major shift in global economic dynamics, especially when compared to the G7, the group of 7 richest economies, which include the United States, Japan, Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Canada, and Italy. As of 2024, the G7 accounts for just 29% of global GDP, a significant drop from 47% in 1992. At that time, the countries now making up BRICS contributed only 22% of the global economy, so the growth of BRICS and the decline of the G7's economic share over the past 3 decades has been stark. Indonesia's addition is particularly significant because the country has been rapidly advancing economically. In 2023, Indonesia overtook both the United Kingdom and France, becoming the 7th largest economy in the world. Indonesia now represents 2.4% of global GDP at purchasing power parity, compared to 2.2% for the UK and France. This shift highlights a broader trend. Indonesia's share of the global economy is growing, while those of traditional Western powers, like the UK and France, are shrinking. The country's economic growth reflects the wider changes occurring in the Global South, where emerging economies are asserting greater influence. Interestingly, Indonesia's membership in BRICS came somewhat unexpectedly. While it was invited to become a BRICS partner in October 2024 during the summit in Kazan, Russia, it was only in January 2025 that Indonesia was officially announced as a full member. This delay was due to the upcoming national elections in Indonesia, after which the newly elected president Prabowo Subianto formally accepted the invitation to join. Brazil, the BRICS chair country for 2025, highlighted Indonesia's importance as the largest economy and population in Southeast Asia, and emphasized that its inclusion would help BRICS push for reforms in global governance institutions, especially those like the United Nations and financial institutions such as the International Monetary Fund and World Bank. China's foreign ministry also underscored Indonesia's role in BRICS, affirming that the organization serves as a key platform for fostering cooperation among the countries of the Global South and driving reform in global governance systems. Indonesia's admission fits into the broader trend of the Global South's collective rise, seeking multilateralism, fairness, justice, and mutual development through cooperation. Indonesia's inclusion is also historically significant. The country has long been a leader in the Global South. It was one of the co-founders of the Non-Aligned Movement in 1961, a movement that sought to avoid the influence of the superpowers during the Cold War and promoted cooperation and economic development among newly independent nations. In 1955, Indonesia hosted the Bandung Conference, which brought together countries from Asia and Africa to discuss how to build an independent, cooperative system for trade and development. Indonesia's role as a leader in the Global South has deep roots, and this was only strengthened by the painful history of colonization and its aftermath, including the brutal anti-communist purge of the mid-1960s, which was supported by the United States. The legacy of that era still affects Indonesia's foreign policy today. A 2024 poll found that an overwhelming 73% of Indonesians would choose China over the United States in the event of a forced alignment between the two. This trend is not unique to Indonesia, as other Southeast Asian nations, such as Malaysia and Thailand, also tend to favor China over the US when it comes to foreign relations. Indonesia has repeatedly made clear its desire for good relations with both China and Russia, while maintaining a respectful, though not overly enthusiastic, relationship with the US. The economic relationship between Indonesia and China is particularly strong, with China being Indonesia's largest trading partner. As of 2022, nearly a quarter of Indonesia's exports went to China, and more than a quarter of its imports came from China. This deepening economic relationship has benefited Indonesia, especially in sectors such as nickel production, where Indonesia is the world's largest producer. Nickel is a crucial mineral for renewable energy technologies, such as electric vehicle batteries and solar panels, and Indonesia's strategic use of its mineral resources has helped accelerate its economic development. Indonesia's government has pursued an industrial strategy that prioritizes value-added production rather than just exporting raw materials. This includes a ban on the export of raw nickel ore, a move that has angered Western powers and institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization, which have accused Indonesia of violating free trade principles. Indonesia, however, sees this as an act of economic sovereignty, ensuring that its natural resources benefit its own people, rather than being exploited by Western corporations. China has played an important role in this transformation. The country has invested heavily in Indonesia's industrial infrastructure, particularly in nickel processing. This collaboration has been part of China's broader Belt and Road Initiative, which seeks to enhance infrastructure and industrial capabilities in developing countries. Chinese companies have helped build the necessary infrastructure, provided favorable loans, and offered technical expertise, creating a mutually beneficial relationship. Chinese investment has not only helped Indonesia industrialize but has also led to the establishment of electric vehicle manufacturing plants in Indonesia, further boosting the country's economy. The success of Indonesia's industrial policy has been widely recognized, even by Western analysts. Reports have pointed to Indonesia's dominance in the nickel market as a prime example of how state-led development and strategic partnerships with countries like China can boost a nation's global economic position. In the process, Indonesia has quintupled the value of its nickel exports over the past decade and is now attracting foreign investment to develop its electric vehicle and battery manufacturing sectors. This shift in Indonesia's economic strategy also highlights the broader dynamics at play within BRICS. The West has long used institutions like the IMF and the World Bank to impose rules that often benefit wealthy nations at the expense of the Global South. Indonesia's approach, however, is a clear example of how countries in the Global South are finding new ways to assert their sovereignty and economic interests, often by turning to BRICS for support and collaboration. BRICS itself has become an increasingly important alternative to the existing Western-dominated financial system. The organization has already established the New Development Bank as an alternative to the World Bank, and is working on creating financial systems that can provide liquidity to countries facing balance of payments crises, without relying on Western institutions. Additionally, many BRICS countries, including Indonesia, are moving away from using the US dollar in favor of their local currencies for trade, further weakening the dominance of the dollar in global transactions. Indonesia's inclusion in BRICS is not just a reflection of its economic ascent but also a sign of the Global South's rising collective power. The country's strategic economic policies, especially its industrialization of key minerals like nickel, are reshaping global trade patterns and demonstrating the potential for alternative economic models that prioritize local development and independence over the interests of Western powers. For many countries in the Global South, BRICS represents a beacon of hope for creating a fairer, more equitable international economic order, one that reflects their interests and values. As BRICS continues to expand and deepen its cooperation, The world is witnessing a historic shift toward a more multipolar global economy.